My phone, right? It does this incredibly aggressive, like a digital beep that feels like a drill in your brain at exactly 6:15 a.m. And every single morning, Mia, I do this ridiculous slow motion dive across the nightstand just to hit that snooze button. It is a daily desperate struggle.
Oh, the snooze button. Leo, that is the ultimate trap. Why do we do that to ourselves? 6:15 is that is what I would call the crack of dawn. It is so early.
It is the crack of dawn. That phrase, it means the very first light of day, right? But when that alarm goes off, that is a great phrasal verb there. When an alarm goes off, it means it starts ringing. I am just so incredibly groggy. Grogggy. It is like my brain is wrapped in a thick, wet blanket.
Groggy is the perfect word. It describes that half asleep, confused feeling when you are not fully awake yet. I am definitely a night owl, so waking up at the crack of dawn is my worst nightmare. I prefer to stay up late. Whereas you? Are you naturally an early bird, Leo? Or do you just pretend to be one?
I think I am a forced early bird. Left to my own devices, I would sleep like a log until noon. You know that expression? To sleep like a log? It means to sleep very deeply without moving, like a heavy piece of wood. But the problem is when I do try to sleep in,
Wait, sleep in? Let us explain that. To sleep in means to intentionally sleep later than you normally do, right? Like on a Sunday morning.
yes, exactly. But my brain tricks me. I will tell myself, oh, I will just doze off for 5 more minutes. To doze off means to fall into a light sleep. But last Tuesday, those 5 minutes turned into 45 minutes. I was supposed to have this huge, really important meeting with our audio engineer at 8 a.m. I woke up at 7:45. The sheer panic, Mia. I did not even brush my teeth before running out the door.
Oh no! That panic is the worst feeling in the world. Your heart is just pounding and you are trying to put pants on while running. We have all been there, sleeping in by accident because we dozed off for just a second too long. But you know what makes it so much worse? It is the phone. We lie there in the dark, and instead of actually getting up, which means physically leaving the bed, we just lie there scrolling. I am so guilty of this. I will spend 20 minutes scrolling through social media, looking at videos of sea otters before my feet even touch the floor.
Sea otters? Really? But it is true. That scrolling through habit is a killer. You are just mindlessly moving your thumb, staring at a screen. It makes it so much harder to drag yourself out of bed. That phrasal verb, to drag yourself out of bed, it sounds so heavy, doesn't it? Like your body weighs 1,000 pounds and you have to pull it across the floor.
It really does feel that way. Drag yourself out. It shows how much effort it takes. If you are feeling groggy, you really have to force yourself. How do you find the energy to actually get going in the morning? What is your secret to find that initial spark?
Honestly, I have to put my phone on the other side of the room. If I have to physically stand up and walk 5 steps to turn off the alarm, then I am already up. I cannot easily crawl back in. That is how I get going. To get going just means to start your day, to start moving and being productive.
That is a very disciplined strategy. My approach is, well, it is much slower. I have a very mindful, cozy ritual. I hate being rushed. If I feel rushed, my whole day is ruined. So I get up and I just sit on the edge of the bed for a couple of minutes. No phone, just breathing. I let my eyes adjust to the light. It is a slow warm up. But if someone starts talking to me immediately, oh, I get so grumpy.
Note to self, do not call Mia before 9 a.m. unless you want a very grumpy response. But I love that idea of a slow ritual. It is much better than my panic sprint of a routine. Now, once you actually manage to drag yourself to the kitchen, that is where the real magic, or the real disaster, happens. For me, the first goal is always caffeine. I need to pour out a cup of coffee as fast as humanly possible.
Yes, pour out. You are emptying the liquid from the pot into your mug. But what happens when you have to actually make it first? Are you a fancy coffee person, or do you just whip something up quickly?
Oh, I am very lazy. I like to whip up a quick instant coffee, or maybe heat up some leftover coffee from the day before in the microwave. To whip up means to make something very quickly and without much planning, like whipping up some scrambled eggs. But last week, oh man, I had this absolute tragedy. I went to the cupboard and I had completely run out of coffee beans.
No. Running out of coffee is a true emergency. To run out of something means you have none left. You used the very last bit. That is a nightmare for a morning person.
It was devastating. I stood there staring at the empty jar for a full minute, hoping coffee would magically appear. I ended up trying to gulp down some old, lukewarm herbal tea instead. It was not the same. To gulp down means to drink something very quickly, in large swallows, usually because you are in a rush.
Gulping down cold tea sounds miserable. I had a kitchen mishap a few months ago that was even worse. I was so groggy, again, that word groggy, that I went to make my pour over coffee. I put the filter in, I put the coffee grounds in, and I poured the hot water. But I forgot to put the actual coffee mug underneath the dripper. I just poured hot brown water straight onto the kitchen counter. It went everywhere.
No way! You made a coffee puddle. That is amazing. It just shows how our brains do not function before we get that first sip of coffee. We are like zombies trying to operate heavy machinery, or at least a coffee maker.
It is so true. Once we are caffeinated, we have to actually freshen up and look like civilized human beings. To freshen up is a nice way of saying washing your face, brushing your teeth, maybe taking a quick shower to feel clean and awake.
Yes, freshen up. And then comes the hardest part of the morning for me, trying to pick out an outfit. To pick out means to choose something from a group. I stand in front of my closet, which is a total mess, trying to pick out a shirt that isn't too wrinkled.
And this is a great grammar point for our listeners, actually. Pick out and put on are separable phrasal verbs. So you can say, I pick out my clothes, or I pick my clothes out. And when we use a pronoun like it or them, it has to go in the middle. We say, I pick them out, never I pick out them.
That is a really important rule. Same with put on. You can put on your coat or put your coat on, but you must say put it on. You can't say put on it. I remember one morning I was so rushed I just wanted to throw on any random outfit. To throw on means to put clothes on very quickly without caring how they look. And well, I threw on this nice blue button-down shirt.
Let me guess. Was it inside out?
It was worse. It was inside out and backwards. And I did not notice until I was at a cafe ordering lunch, and the barista looked at me very confusedly and said, "Sir, your tag is sticking out of your throat?" I had the collar tag right under my chin all morning.
Oh, Leo, that is incredible. Under your chin? I had a similar disaster. I was running late and just threw on some socks in the dark. I got to work, sat down in a meeting, crossed my legs, and realized I was wearing one bright pink sock with little teacups on it and one thick gray wool sock. They were not even the same thickness. I walked with a slight limp all day because of those socks.
A sock-induced limp. That is brilliant. It is amazing how our morning decisions can haunt us for the rest of the day.
It really is. And the final boss of the morning routine is actually leaving the house. We have to head out or set off. Both of these mean to start a journey or leave your home. But when you are running late, heading out becomes a high-stakes sport.
It really does. To run late means you are behind schedule. You are constantly keeping an eye on the time, looking at your watch every 30 seconds. And before you head out, you have to lock up. To lock up means to lock all the doors and windows of your house so everything is secure.
Yes, locking up is crucial. But in the rush, things go missing. Keys, wallet, phone, the holy trinity of morning panic. Have you ever lost your keys right as you were trying to set off, Leo?
Oh, you have no idea. This is my peak clumsy moment. I was running so late, keeping an eye on the time, sweat pouring down my face. I could not find my car keys anywhere. I searched the couch, my pockets, the trash can, everywhere. Finally, I decided I needed a glass of water before I lost my mind. I opened the refrigerator, and there, right next to the butter, were my keys.
The refrigerator! How do they even end up there?
I think when I was putting the milk back earlier, my brain just went on autopilot and swapped them. I put the milk in my pocket and the keys in the fridge. It was ridiculous. But, we laugh about these things now. To our listeners, if you have these clumsy mornings, you are not alone. And all these phrasal verbs we talked about today, drag yourself out of bed, whip up, run out of, they're just tools to help you describe your own daily chaos.
Exactly. Don't try to memorize them all at once. Just pick one or two today. Maybe tomorrow morning when you are standing in your kitchen, you can say to yourself, I am pouring out my coffee, or I am running out of milk. Start small.
That is perfect advice. Well, I think that is it from me today. I am going to go double check that my keys aren't in the fridge right now.
Good idea. Talk soon, Leo.